Good afternoon. It's Ken Colton. I'm delighted to be with you all today. I want to spend a couple minutes with you all and tell you what I kind of think about as kind of a trail to success or a path to success. I've worked on Wall Street for 30 plus years. I got involved in the 1980s. I went to a small school down south, so I didn't go to any of these, big Ivy League schools. So it just goes to show that you don't have to have a fancy big school education to be successful in the world. And what you need is hard work, dedication, and kind of somebody who's going to be your mentor over time. And I think that's very, very important. So my role at the firm where I work is we manage money for clients. And while we all want to have a lot of money, it's also a very big responsibility when you have a pool of money that you take care of it. You take care of it for your family. You take care of it for future generations. So my team works with families. They work with big universities, many of which you would know. Organizations like big state plans. So we work with a variety of different organizations to make sure they're managing the money effectively. I manage a team of 5 people. And as I said, I've hired many people over time. And what gives me great pleasure is to see when I hire somebody in a beginning role to see them progress over time. But the key is, how do you get that beginning role? How do you differentiate yourself? So again, I talked about this earlier, kind of a trail or path to success. You've got to stand out. And I think it's important on your resume to try and distinguish yourself. And basically, you got a couple hundred kids who go to your high school, go to your college, they're all going to have the same resumes. Interest. What interest do you have? So I'm going to tell you kind of a funny story. Over the years, I have one young lady who's been with me for 9 years. Okay, she was an athlete in college, but she also put on her resume that she baked the best chocolate chip cookies in the world. That stands out. Okay, so another young lady who's been with me for 6 years. Okay, worked at a farm stand in New Jersey, and it happened to be a farm stand that we go to. And when I looked at the farm stand, I asked her about it, but she wasn't shucking corn. She was doing the books. So she was doing the accounting for the farm stand. So again, I'm looking for something that stands out. We're in the process of hiring somebody today, and I had a conversation with a young lady yesterday who, on her resume, she had that she is a foster parent for dogs. And she's done this since 2015. So that makes you stick out. And I guess what I'm saying is, I want you all to follow your passion, okay? When you're in high school, when you're in middle school, you'll develop different interests. Try and pursue those interests and try and focus on those interests and develop them. And as you develop them, you can expand them. And I think it makes a lot of sense to add that to a resume because that will make you stand out and that will make you different. The other thing I would say is when you're meeting with a teacher, when you're meeting with a professor, when you're meeting with a prospective employer, you always want to say, I'm a hard worker because what I did, or I'm diligent because what I did. I'm a hard worker because I get up every morning very early and I make sure my work is done. I'm very diligent because I keep lists of everything and go back to make sure it's done on time. So you can't just say I'm a hard worker, you've got to expand upon that when you have a conversation. Always important to look somebody in the eye and have a conversation with them. Always important to ask questions. It's always good to have a couple questions you're going to ask a prospective employer or somebody you're talking to. But again, I think that trail to success will distinguish you both in the working world as well as the educational world, as well as your communication with others. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye, but please feel free to call me if you have any questions. I'm happy to have another session and go more in depth in terms of what I do in terms of the financial services world.